Senator Andy Kim, New Jersey's junior senator, is fully immersed now in his first term in office.
His first 2 months in particular, he's taking on the war in Ukraine, the government's funding battle, federal layoffs, the housing crisis in the Garden State, much, much more. Joining us to talk about all of this is the senator from New Jersey, Andy Kim. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
As we said, there's so many things we can talk about, and we'll get to the press conference you had yesterday about the federal workers from HUD being laid off. But I just want to ask you, what's going on with the Democratic Party right now?
Yeah, look, right now we find ourselves out of the White House, out of the House of Representatives, out of the Senate in terms of leadership, and that's a really tough place to be. You know, for me, I think about 2017, 2018. Back then, I was only, I was just a regular citizen, never been in politics before. And I was frustrated with the Democratic Party then and decided I was going to step up on my own, run for Congress, try to get engaged. Just last year, I mean, I ended up going up against the Democratic Party in New Jersey to run for Senate. And so, you know, I'm somebody that has really pushed forward on a way of just saying, look, you know, we cannot just wait for the establishment, for the party to just move on. The people need to be able to lead the way. That's what we need to do. And that's why this week I'm going out across New Jersey. I'm doing 3 different town halls across the state, focused on areas that are led by Republican members of Congress that voted for this reconciliation bill, voted for this continuing resolution, are empowering the president's dangerous agenda. And I want to show that that's how we go on the offense. That's how we try to lead. That's how we try to get our message out there. So I get it, a lot of frustrations that are out there, but as a Democrat that won a congressional district that Trump won before, I feel like I know how it is that we try to move forward, how we can have strategy and purpose in our actions.
But a lot of the frustration that's been voiced has been by elected officials in the Democratic Party against other elected officials, namely Chuck Schumer. You know, 10 senators actually voted in support of passing the resolution that will fund Congress until September. And a lot of Democrats are upset with him. Are you?
I'm frustrated immensely in how things unfolded.
Are you upset with him specifically, or frustrated with him specifically?
Well, look, I'm frustrated with, as you said, the Democratic Party right now. It's not just him. It's a question of how do we try to move forward in this era of Trump. And I understand the Trump administration, Speaker Johnson, they put our country in an unbelievably terrible bind where there was nothing but bad options that were out there. But we want to make sure that we are fighting here. You know, like, for instance, when it came to this spending package, we should have been putting forward our own proposal, showing people what it is that we want to see done, not just reacting to what they're doing. You know, we should be saying, hey, look, we want a budget that's about supporting people and trying to lower costs at a time when families are struggling right now so hard when it comes to housing. You know, who in the right mind thinks that these tariffs are a good idea right now when Americans are struggling to pay the bills? Like, we should have been putting forward our own vision, not just reacting to what Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump and Elon Musk are putting forward. So yes, I got frustrations with this, but you know, we have to move forward with more decisiveness going on.
One last question then about the Democratic Party and Chuck Schumer in particular. You say that you should have alternatives. He's the minority leader. So are you frustrated with him about not getting you guys together and saying we need to provide alternatives rather than just sitting back and voting, or are you okay with him? You have confidence in him still?
Well, look, I do have confidence in the fact that, you know, I think he thought, like, he voted in the way that he thought was best for the country. I disagree with his approach, but I don't question why he was going about doing it. Now, again, it's not just about him. It's the caucus. It's about whether or not we can come together with a strategy. And regardless of what happens next, we have to be able to unify around an approach when we take on the next big fights, which is about reconciliation. I mean, the Republicans are putting forward legislation that's trying to gut $880 billion from Medicaid. We're talking about 2 million people in the state of New Jersey. 1 out of every 3 kids is on Medicaid. People with disabilities, seniors in nursing home, long-term care facilities. We cannot dither when it comes to that fight. We have to take it to them. So, you know, that's what I'm going to be pushing for. But right now, I'm back in New Jersey. I want to hear from my bosses, all 9 million of them, you know, going around these town halls, hearing from them, because it's just important that we just don't live in an echo chamber down at the Capitol.
And with this New Jersey housing crisis, and you mentioned the families, the low-income families that are struggling and the taxes continue to rise, and property taxes as well as rents. With the Trump administration's various cuts in government, whether it's the firings, what is the impact on New Jersey in that situation, and what is the plan moving forward that you're trying to execute?
Well, it's really dangerous right now because, as I said, people are struggling. Last year, the top thing I heard about through the campaign was a high cost of living, in particular housing costs. And that's something that people across New Jersey always hear about. They're wondering, why is this administration, why isn't the Trump administration actually doing anything about it? Instead, again, when you're putting tariffs on, tariffs on lumber, on steel, on other products, that's just going to make building costs go up at a time when we should be surging the ability to build across New Jersey, across this country. And when you have efforts right now that are firing federal workers, you're firing people that are helping provide resources to those that are in need, helping provide resources to those who are looking for affordable housing. That's going to make it harder for Americans to be able to get by. So that's what I was trying to highlight. There's a way in which we can go about dealing with effectiveness and efficiency of government. I understand there's waste that we can get rid of, but what Elon Musk is doing is not about efficiency. It's about pushing forward a very dangerous agenda that's trying to dismantle government and trying to make it harder for Americans who are calling my office, looking for help, veterans who are trying to get support through the VA. Now tens of thousands of employees of the VA are being fired. That's not how we treat our veterans. That's not how we treat people who put their lives on the line for this country.
Senator, as a proud New Jersey resident, I'm also a commuter, and I have to commute. I have to take my car. I can't take the train at 3 o'clock in the morning to get here to work. Where do you stand on congestion pricing as far as the New Jersey residents are impacted?
Yeah, look, I think for my purposes, that's something that I think New York and New Jersey should be deciding on their own. I don't think Donald Trump and the federal government should get involved. I'm of two minds here. I certainly understand the concerns when it comes to cost, but I was also just, with some people yesterday live in, Palisades Park, Fort Lee, and they're saying, it's never been better in terms of their ability to get into the city. I understand the challenges that are out there. What I'll say is, look, I'm going to try to find other ways to make things affordable for people in New Jersey. We should be making sure that public transit is cheaper and more affordable. We should be investing more in public transit to make it easier for people. And for those that have to commute in, we can see about, what other types of relief we can provide. But what we can't have is Donald Trump thinking that he has the ability to get himself involved in every facet of our lives. He should stay out of it. We should allow our region to be able to make these decisions on our own. That's what Congress empowered them to do.
One last question before we let you go. I think you can make the argument that this country, from the electorate, is more divided than it was even in November. Certainly, I think the politicians, Republicans, have banded together. The Democrats are trying to fight, can't figure out which way to go, but they're probably more polarized than they were in November. How do we get government to function and actually get stuff done when we're in a country where everybody's just spitting at each other?
Yeah, I think this is why I get so frustrated by the firing of these federal workers, for instance. I used to be a civil servant. I worked in diplomacy for this country and national security, but I worked under President Bush. I worked under President Obama. I served a country, not a party. And the federal civil service, they are the steady hand at the wheel. And again, yes, we can make it more effective and efficient, but we shouldn't think that the way that we're going to fix our problems is by having more partisanship and more tribalism. We have the 250th anniversary of our country coming up in a year. I really feel like that needs to be a moment where we reinvest in civics education, reinvest in a sense of public service, have a new era of public service emerge, not just think about it as a time to have a great fireworks display, but actually try to think about what does it mean to be an American at the 250th anniversary. I got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. I worry about what kind of America they're going to grow up in. This kind of chaos right now, I don't want that for them when they grow up. So that's why I'm trying to fix it. I hope other Americans really invest in that idea that we have to remember that we're part of something bigger than all of us.
Well, New Jersey Junior Senator Andy Kim, thank you so much for joining us this morning on
Thanks for
Good Day
having me.
New York.
Always good to see you. Thank you.